there. Evergreen lives there. Corner the brush, and we just begin making a nice little evergreen. Just sort of go back and forth with your brush, make all the little limbs that hang there. And we'll highlight this little tree, so all we're looking for here is a nice background. And maybe, there's one right here. You know, trees get lonely too, so they need friends. Just give him a little friend right there. Now we can take a little bit of sap green and just come back and highlight the tree. Now you want to place a lot of emphasis on putting the highlight on the right side of the tree, since your mountain is showing that the light's coming from the right. And if you're right-handed, you'll find that it's usually easier to highlight things on the right. If you're left-handed, it'll sort of vary from person to person. Left-handed people have been forced all their life to do right-handed things, so they will find through experimenting which way is easier for them. Okay, now maybe on this side over here, maybe we've got an almighty tree. Maybe there's a nice big evergreen that lives right there. And we just start right at the top using very little pressure. As we work down this tree, we're using more pressure and making the brush bend downward. There we go. Isn't that a super way to make a little evergreen? I used to agonize over these. So this really is the way to do it. Just back and forth, let the brush work, let the paint work. There we go. And we have a happy little tree that quick. And maybe we want to have some leaf trees, some big trees here. So let's use the big brush. Fill it up full of paint. Just load a lot of paint into it and figure out where you want a tree and go right up in here and just drop it in. Bend the bristles. Make that brush bend. Make it work for you. And just come right on. Maybe there's a little peninsula right out through here. So just drop it in. There we go. Now, while we got the dirty brush up here, let's put a few little reflections right there. Just let them fall in. Pull straight down and go gently across. When you're doing these reflections, be sure you pull them straight down. If you pull them at an angle, they just won't look right. So now let's take a 1-inch brush here. We'll put a little magic white in the brush to thin the paint and load it full of paint. Here I'm going to load it with some cad yellow. And let's go back into the sap green. Cad yellow and sap green. And a little magic white to thin it. A lot of paint in the bristles. Now, touch, push, bend the brush. You need to bend it to make all these beautiful little leaves here. Let it bend and then sort of work in patterns so the tree has some shape to it. You just don't want a dead tree laying out here. Let's put some life in him. There. Now I'm beginning to go into maybe a little yellow ochre. And we'll drop right down here and there's another happy little bush. There they are.